Hey, good afternoon. Hey, folks, we're going to start the program. If we can get everyone to sort of come in. We know the space is small. Thank you so much for being here. On behalf of Community Housing Partnership and Larkin Street Youth Services, I want to welcome you to Edward II, 24 units of permanent housing for young adults transitioning from foster care, at risk of homelessness, and exiting from homelessness. I'm Gail Gilman, the Executive Director. And believe it or not, we are going to have a beautiful yet very brief program so then folks can get back to mingling and getting to know each other better. Before I introduce our first speaker, I do want to thank everyone in this room. Everyone in this room was instrumental to making this project happen, a project that began in late 2010 and concluded with individuals moving into this housing in October of 2014. So we want to thank all of you and give yourselves a round of applause. So I'd like to invite up someone with a very inspirational story, someone who can firsthand tell you what it's like to live here at the Edward and their own experience, and someone who's taking their pathway to self-sufficiency by starting with stable housing, Dennis Jones.
So let me move this up closer because I need it up closer. So excuse me. All right. So my name is Dennis Jones. I'm a musician, poet, and social liberator. I was born and raised in San Francisco. I've lived in 3 neighborhoods, the Mission, the Bayview, and the Castro, and now I'm living here in Marina. Living at Edward II means that I'm able to really learn about different individuals, and it allows you the space to really study subcultures. And the different environment is just something that is very conducive of me really growing. It is buildings like this that support youth to become leaders by being a leader right now. And I really believe that buildings like this should be a model for housing nationally. And I hope to also become a strong politician like Nancy Pelosi, like Ed Lee, and like Mark Farrell, and a strong advocate like Sherilyn Adams, and a philanthropist like, Rich Gross. Or maybe even be a banker like Gabriel Sawyer, from Bank of America. I would also like to give special thanks to Gail Gilman. She's the Executive Director of Community Housing Partnership, and she did a lot of work to actually get buildings like this, and she is very supportive of youth becoming independent. And that's something that's very, very dear to me. And it's also the combined efforts of many of the people I've mentioned just right now that allows buildings like this to actually be given to youth like me. Youth who want to be a leader, youth who want to actually be political, youth who actually want to do things, youth who are actually passionate. So really, this is a quiet place for me to really dream and work towards my dreams, and to really be able to communicate and engage an audience without feeling too stereotyped, too down, too pressured. Before getting on stage, I'm gonna be honest with everyone in this room, because I'm a social liberator. I could actually speak directly to everyone in here, because I'm not scared. There's no fear in my mind that spaces like this, is spaces where people like you come to actually see youth like me speak, is really powerful. It's what we really need. It's what the future really needs. Because it's gonna be a person like me that has to take care of all of you. I'm gonna have to grow up to take care of all of you. And whatever problems that's inherited and passed along, maybe when I get into public office, maybe when I become a congressman myself, or maybe when I become mayor, I'll fully understand it. And I'll interact with people who are entrepreneurs, who are philanthropists, who are, bankers and who are corporate, and having to really bring this all together. Because I would actually like jabber on about a lot of the political things I really know about, but this isn't really the space for that. But I am aware of what's happening in politics, and it is my responsibility to really understand it and to do something about it. And I really want to thank everyone for coming here today. I'd like to welcome you guys to this grand opening. There's drinks. I've seen all those pies in there. Have some pie. have some lemonade. Have some cucumber water. It's really good. And really enjoy yourself. Enjoy this atmosphere, because it is a safe space for youth. But not only is it a safe space for youth, it's a safe space for youth to grow into adults like everyone in this room, and to be leaders like everyone in this room. Everybody's a leader, whether they want to accept it or not. Everyone is a decision maker for themselves. And it's when we take that decision and walk forward and be thankful and admire and love the humanity within one another, this is where, like, I'm speechless. And yeah, I'm just speechless now, and honored, and definitely blessed. And I would like to thank you all. Thank you.
So we all know it takes a village to build these kinds of projects, and the support the city and county of San Francisco needs is supports from our leaders in Washington. And we've been so fortunate to have such a wonderful advocate in Leader Pelosi for San Francisco, for affordable housing, and for the needs of our most vulnerable citizens. It is truly my honor to invite Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi up to speak.
Thank you very much, Gail. Thank you very much for having me follow Dennis. Wasn't he eloquent and beautiful? Didn't he tell the whole story of what this is about? So, of course, I salute the mayor for his leadership, Gail, Sherilyn, to you, to Larkin Street, to all that everyone has done, the architects, the construction people, everyone, to make this a place that's about respect for the youth that it will house, to give them the dignity and respect they deserve, and the space, literal and figurative, the space to grow and be who they want to be, to create a culture here, right, Michael? Michael is another tenant that I have seen. So I thank all of you. I know that Supervisor Farrell, maybe is he here? Has he come? Well, anyway, he will be here, but it's my honor to be here with the mayor because enabling affordable housing of every different category was for our veterans, for our youth, and the rest. The mayor has been so much in the lead. He has made a commitment to the future, and he knows what the difference, the dignity of a clean place to live is. And as I walk through, Dennis and Sherilyn and Gail were giving me the tour, I could just see how inviting, but also how respectful of all of the guests who will live here this wonderful place is. My understanding is there's a rise in the homeless population. I wish that there were not. But my friend John Burton has told me that if you want to really address the problem, do so in small numbers so that people can create a family-like atmosphere in neighborhoods they may not be used to living in, so that they can see another part of the community welcoming them. So gosh, Larkin Street has been so wonderful for our young people, so that everyone comes together. Now the role that we play is to make sure we have the low-income housing tax credit fully reauthorized over and over again, because this is an example of a public-private nonprofit partnership that enables it to happen, whether it's with the Bank of America, let me just see here, Northern California Enterprise Community Partners, Bank of America, the city, Larkin Street Youth Services, all of it doing its very best. St. Mary's, thank you. and to the neighbors for channeling their concerns in a very constructive way to make this a very welcoming place for our young people. I'm very honored to be here. Dennis told us very well what it means so eloquently. He's our VIP. Michael's our VIP. But I'll tell you this, Michael, and I'll tell you this, Dennis. I will go back and tell your story. Tell your story about how this Edward the II has affected your life and how you suggested that it can be a model for the country. Thank you all for making it so.
So I am very thrilled also to welcome up here who I call the housing mayor, the man with the vision for San Francisco to shape housing and equity, Mayor Lee.
Thank you, Gail and Sherilyn. Dennis, thank you again, and Michael and all the other residents here. I love it when Leader Pelosi visits because we have an opportunity, and I've always put my staff says, every time the leader comes in, we got to showcase something else. We got to get stuff done because she needs more and more examples. And this in particular is a heartwarming one because we already know the challenges of our youth when they're aged out of home care, when a lot of things are happening in their lives. They need a city that's warm and welcoming of them in these very sensitive years when people are trying to figure out what it is that they can do. They need that support system. And we also know that we're in a housing crisis, not just in the city, the entire region. And the income inequality is real. And yet, in the middle of this crisis, what I find to be so comforting is we have leadership that says we can get it done and we can help more people. And I know, and I've listened to all the speeches that Nancy, Leader Pelosi has been saying to the rest of the country, we got to do more for our American people. And we're doing it right here, example after example. And in the housing crisis, we found the partners, we found the agencies to come together, and we're more and more also educating our public. It's not just the wood and brick. It's not just the concrete. We can find concrete anywhere. It's the financial, it's the services, it's the people who care about the youth to be able to create a space that is warm and welcoming and supportive. And as I told Sherilyn and Gail when I first came here before it opened, I saw this big kitchen and I could envision some famous chef's gonna be here helping our youth figure out how to cook healthy and live strong lives as a result of the things that they eat. But there's a lot of other things that are going to happen very positively on the site. And I want to give yet again more credit to Supervisor Farrell. I know he's gone to the budget committee so he can help me figure out even more what we need for the future. But I'm very willing to accept the fact that his father is here. I want to say thank you, Mr. Farrell, for producing an effectively good leadership son. All in all, to say that even in crises, even when we're challenged so much with land use and the cost of housing, we can build 24 additional units. We can complete the 400 units that we said a few years ago was our target. We're already over 60% on the way. We have more sites that are being put together, and we're doing it smartly. We're not just building the units. We are getting the best intelligence that Sherilyn and Gail and others who operate supportive housing provide us with the intelligence that what do you need on site to make sure that youth within 18 to 24 months can be here, get things together for themselves, feel confident enough that they can get out, get the jobs that we're producing, get the training that we're offering, and get on to what we really call their independence. Because that's what this is about. It really is to allow the youth to become independent so that they can be successful and be the mayors and the congressmen that they want to be. But we need that inner strength to be nurtured, and this is where it's going to happen. And so I want to take this opportunity. This month, Nancy, is Women's History Month, and already I have provided the due recognition to both Gail and Sherilyn for their collaborative services here, and so they already have their plaques for their own offices, but there is one that is needed here. And so it is my pleasure to present again to both leaders in their own right. But of course, Nancy, you like this. This is really, again, another example of the history of women's leadership and the fact that this particular building and the people that come through it will also be the beneficiaries of really smart, dedicated, compassionate thinking and living. And I want to present this proclamation to be hung on this wall and declaring it Edward II Day in San Francisco.
So as I said, every real estate deal is complicated, and it takes a village and it takes many people to bring it together. And one thing we needed for this site early on was we needed what's called entitlements. We needed to change the use. We needed to change the purpose for this lot and for the space. And very early on, when he was a member of the Board of Supervisors, now Assembly Member David Chu understood that cause and really championed us through the Board of Supervisors and through the entitlements we need. He apologizes he can't be here today, but Jen Court from his staff is going to speak on his behalf.
Hi, thank you. The Assembly member would love to be here today, but ironically enough is in a housing committee meeting in Sacramento, so is unable to be here. As Gail said, in 2011, then Supervisor Chu was very proud to champion the legislation that allowed Edward II to become a reality today, and was proud to be a champion at the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors. And I'd like to very quickly thank the many, many community partners that made this a reality, especially Larkin Street Youth Services and Community Housing Partnership. And the Assembly member would also like to thank Leader Pelosi, Mayor Lee, Supervisor Farrell, and my colleagues from Assembly Member Ting's office for being here to celebrate the opening of this very, very important project. And wanted me to say that this project is really a perfect example of the type of thing that we need more of in San Francisco, which is why he is working with Speaker Tony Atkins to fight for more funding for affordable housing at the state level to make sure that all San Franciscans can afford to stay in our amazing city. So thank you, everyone, and congratulations to everyone as well.
So as I promised, only a couple of more speakers. My goal is that this is the briefest program in the history of opening affordable housing in San Francisco, but I'm going to invite two veterans to come up. They're going to speak in a minute. Again, as Leader Pelosi said, this is a private-public partnership, and we can't do this without financing, and we can't do this without investors. And the two gentlemen who are going to speak next both represent different sides of that coin. They've been great supporters of Community Housing Partnership over the years. So I'd like to invite up Gabriel Spires, the Senior Vice President for Bank of America.
Let's move this up.
All right. Well, good afternoon, and first of all, congratulations, congratulations to Larkin Street Youth Services and Community Housing Partnership for this beautiful place to live. Bank of America is pleased to provide the $7.4 million tax credit investment through our trusted partner, Enterprise Community Investments, along with a $6 million construction loan for the rehabilitation of Edward II, and it is part of our $1.5 trillion 10-year commitment to community development nationwide. And more often than not, no is the easy answer. As our elected officials here today know quite well, it can be hard to get to a yes. Yes can take perseverance, yes can take commitment, and yes can take time. And certainly there are times when no is the appropriate answer, yet they all deserve our praise for the yeses they have been able to accomplish. And although Edward II is not the largest project in town, it's not the shiniest, and John King's not going to be writing any articles about this baby, still, it is a monument to getting to yes. First, on the part of Community Housing Partnership. CHP faced significant no's for this project. No, you don't have the funding. No, you don't have the entitlements. No, you can't put that project here. And a couple of smaller no's during construction, and here we are. So congratulations to Gail and David and everyone at Community Housing Partnership, a Bank of America Neighborhood Excellence Award winner, for getting to yes. And the tenants of Edward II have also faced a lot of no's. No, you can't. No, that's not available to you. Perhaps, no, we can't afford that, or no, you don't have this, that, or those. If they are persevering, they are getting to yes. And hopefully with some shelter, some support, and some community, they are going to get that yes for themselves for many more years to come. So congratulations to all for all the yeses accomplished to get here today. As for Bank of America, yes, we're just happy to help. Thank you.
So a lot of folks have mentioned Enterprise Community Partners. This is actually the third property that Enterprise Community Partners has chosen to invest in and help make a reality for the Community Housing Partnership. So I'd like to invite up their VP of Market Lending, Rich Gross.
So thank you. It is an honor to be here. Gail, I talked to Gail at 9 o'clock last night, who told me I should speak for no more than 45 minutes. So I'll try to keep it short. When our communications department found out that Leader Pelosi was here and Mayor Lee was here, they immediately sent me talking points with yellow markings with highlighters all over it, and they don't know me very well, I'm afraid. So I won't stick to those, but I do, I'm supposed to tell you all about the wonderful things Enterprise does, and I think most of you know that. We have invested over $35 million in CHP and over $300 million in San Francisco in affordable housing projects with our partners like CHP, and we're very proud to be a part of that. I love stories like Dennis told, and I love the transformation stories that we all hear, and I think that one of the dangers of stories like that is it makes it sound like these kind of things are simple, or they're not, or they're like affordable housing 2.0. And we hear stories, all about the tech industry, and there is nothing harder in the world. Gabe talked about that. There is nothing harder in the world to do than a project like this. It takes lots of funding. It takes federal funding. Thank you, Leader Pelosi. It takes city funding, and thank you, Mayor Lee. It would be nice to have a governor that supports affordable housing, that we hope to have at some point. But more than anything else, it takes organizations like Community Housing Partnership. It takes an organization that will sweat blood for a project, that will do the financing, that will do the asset management, the property management. Our closing alone is a huge deal, and I don't know how many closings there were for this project, but there were a lot. And so we understand that the organizations, our partners, our nonprofit developers, work endlessly and tirelessly on projects like this. And so, we stay up here and we can speak to it, but for us that part is easy compared to the part that CHP does. And so let me congratulate CHP, and it's an honor just to be up here. Thank you.
that's the horn that is going to close our afternoon. I have to say this has been such a heartwarming experience to hear and be reminded of everybody that put time and energy and effort into making this project happen. I see Lori, I see Trent, I see Joyce, the mayor, Leader Pelosi, everybody in this room did so much. Scott did so much to make this happen, and what it sends is a message to the young people that are here, the young people who struggle with homelessness, that people care about them, that people want them to have housing, that people want them to have everything they want in the future. Dennis is right? They will take care of us, and the only way that Michael and Dennis can take care of us is if we take care of them. And all of you, by being here and everything you did to make this project happen, sent that message, is giving that message, and I am just deeply inspired by all of you. So thank you very much for spending your afternoon with us. Those of you involved in the ribbon cutting are going that way through the door. The rest of you, please enjoy the snacks and treats Dennis mentioned and tour the building. Thank you.